Hey everybody, it's me, Stephanie Nietzsche, and I know one of the hardest things to do is to think about what you are going to write about, especially if you have written about things already. How do you get fresh ideas? And if you haven't written a story yet, how do you get that one main idea? Well, you know what? I think that's something we all struggle with. I've written 3 works of fiction so far, 1 nonfiction, and I recently published my first short story. But where the heck do you get these ideas from? So with my short story, I will tell you this. My short story is about Abby. She's, she has some financial difficulty. She suffered a lot of loss in her life. And what does she do? She goes to the market every night after work. But this night in particular, she stumbles upon a necklace. And this necklace looks like it's really worth something. And boy, could she use this necklace. So I took that situation because I found a necklace. I took that, my own story with finding that necklace, and I turned it into my short story, Lost and Found. So that's what I mean. You could take something that happened to you today, yesterday, last week, last month, something that was worth talking about when you were a kid, and sharing that story, or as a teenager, a story that was worth sharing, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's so sad. I mean, you could take something, an event that was worth talking about at the time, and turn that into your story. So we all have stories from when we went to school, funny things maybe that happened in the classroom, or maybe we had this, very interesting or very a teacher that had like this outrageous personality and really knew how to, crack up the class or lead the class or guide the class. You need a character who is really going to bring something to the story. So you could take that teacher, let's say, from school, you could take that teacher, and that teacher can be your main character. I mean, did you ever say to yourself, wow, let's call her Miss Sanders. Miss Sanders is such a fun and interesting teacher. She really knew or knows how to get the class, motivated and going. I wonder what Miss Sanders does in her personal life. So now you say to yourself, what would Miss Sanders do after school? Where would she go? How do I think Miss Sanders feels? Is this just something when she's in school because she loves to teach? So this is why her personality is so wonderful and she gets the class going? Or is Miss Sanders really sad inside? When she goes home, does Miss Sanders go home to an empty house? And that's why she's so, social with the kids in the classroom, so interactive, how her personality shines, because that is her only opportunity at that moment to, deal with other people. And that is in the classroom and possibly the other teachers. Or maybe she doesn't even get along with the other teachers, with the faculty. And she just loves the students so much because students are one way, and, because they have their job, they're students, their job is to learn. They're supposed to be taught. That's why they're there. And the faculty is different. Sometimes, there's politics involved, or sometimes it's a power struggle, or maybe if Miss Sanders is the popular teacher, maybe Miss Jenkins is jealous of Miss Sanders. So maybe Miss Sanders at night, instead of, going home and spending time with friends and laughing and carrying on and, making everything so fabulous like she does in the classroom, maybe when Miss Sanders goes home at night, maybe Miss Sanders cries. Maybe Miss Sanders is a very sad person. And you like Miss Sanders so much that you would love for her to meet someone, a friend, a companion, maybe a romantic interest. Maybe Miss Sanders goes somewhere she normally doesn't go one night, and she has this meet cute with someone else. So the point is, you can take a story, you can take a situation in your head, whether you go to school, whether you go to work, whether it's your teacher, your boss, a coworker, and if you really think about what is going on in that person's life, or maybe why they act the way they act, that right there is your story. And you can create an ending for them, a happily ever after. Or a just dessert story. Maybe they run into someone who's just like them and gives them a run for their money. You know what I mean? A fight every day. If they're giving you a fight, maybe you have this boss or this coworker that is always like busting your chops and you have no idea why. And she or he is getting away with it all the time. Well, the perfect story to write for that is that boss or coworker goes somewhere else, maybe nightly, daily, weekly, or maybe there's someone above them, right, in the workplace, and they have to deal with that person. I mean, you could really create some fun, witty, interesting dialogue and situations in there. So just an idea. I'm just throwing it out there. Sometimes we don't realize that we could take things that are going on in our own life or things that we are observing, people we observe, people that we deal with on a daily basis. And you know what? It also helps because I think if you work with someone or if you were in the presence of someone that maybe really irritates you and there's really nothing you can do about it, you have to deal with it, especially if it's in the workplace. What better way to deal with it than to write a story and maybe say all the things, you know, not horrible things, but sometimes people, it helps to be open and honest with people and tell them exactly how you feel or what you think about them. But you know, we can't do that. We shouldn't do that, even though it seems to be perfectly fine for other people to do that. Sometimes we are not that type of person to want to make somebody feel bad. But you know what? We could write about it and we can vent about it and create a whole story and a whole different scenario right there. So that is something to think about. And you don't even have to write an entire novel about it. You could write a short story. Write about one day of going to school or one day of going to work, the people that you have to deal with there, and turn, you know, sometimes you say to yourself, man, I wish I could really turn this situation around. Well, guess what? You can turn the situation around because you can write about it and you can make it go any way you want. All right, everybody, I hope that helps and I'll see you next time. Have a great week.